today it's time to start with the religious aspect of the times of the eras. Welcome again to this video, beloved of God. We will immediately continue with our slideshow. So, we until now have dealt with the political kingdoms and the empires, and now we're going to look at the religious empires, if you could say that, religious kingdoms, definitely, and what it means and how the hand of God can be perceived behind all these tremendous developments, and how they will all converge in the end times. So let's start. This is going to be about the dream of Daniel. This is a dream that he got when he was old already. I think 70 something, maybe even above 80. And the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, he was still a young man, 25, 30 years, or maybe something like that. Okay, so what did Daniel see in his dream? 4 monstrous animals that emerged from the sea. The sea, as I already mentioned, is always a type in scripture of the nations, except Israel. The nations, all the peoples, all the Gentiles. And they emerge from the sea as a result of the 4 winds of the heavens that rushed forth to the vast sea. One animal was different from the other. This is a little depiction. This is the first animal, a lion with 2 wings of a vulture or an eagle, you could say. So we will read about that. The second animal is a bear, a she-bear. These are female animals, by the way, female animals. So this is the second animal that's described. The third one is a leopard, 4 heads, 4 wings. And the fourth one is a nondescript animal. It looks here in this depiction as a dinosaur, or rather a tyrannosaur. But I don't think this was the animal. This is what it looks like. But we have to just have some fun here. So this is the fourth animal, a depiction of that. So let's see what they are and what they mean. Sharing my view, of course. The first animal. Let me still mention it. Let me mention it here. These animals were described from east to west. This is important to notice and to realize. Not only that, they were described the one after the other, yes. However, they emerged from out of the sea at the same time. At the same time. While the political empires, they were following up each other. So they were, what is the word? I don't know the word anymore. But anyway, they were after each other through conquest. These kingdoms, these are religious kingdoms, they emerged at the same time, all 4 of them, out of the sea. So this is just to frame it already for you. So let's start with the first animal. The most eastern animal was like a lioness, with the wings of a vulture or eagle. Its wings were scraped smooth. Then she was lifted up from the earth. She was made to stand on 2 feet like a mortal, being a human. The heart of a mortal was also granted to her. In my view, this is about Buddhism, the very well-known world religion, Buddhism, the most eastern one indeed. The second, so this is how it looks, the Buddhism. It was given a man's heart, the heart of a mortal, etc. Okay. The second one. Resembling a she-bear. One part was set up. 3 ribs were in her mouth between her teeth. Thus they were saying to her, "Rise, devour huge amounts of flesh." As you know, this is predominantly a religion in India, and India is, except from China, India has is the largest population in the world, and I think 95%, maybe 90% of Indians are of the Hindu religion, and also all the inhabitants of the island of Bali. Okay, so that's Bali is Indonesia, but Bali is Hindu. Okay, this is a bit of a depiction. So it laid on the ground on one side with 3 ribs between her mouth, and I think it's about the caste system, the Brahmanism system in India. That's the 3 castes, the three important castes. Okay, so we have a description here, like a bear raised up on its side, had 3 ribs in its mouth, was told to arise and devour much flesh. Next one. The third animal is like a leopardess. 4 wings of a flyer were on her arched back. 4 heads. She had 4 heads. And jurisdiction was granted to her. This is an interesting one, right? Jurisdiction. Yes. This is Islam, obviously. Why jurisdiction here? Why is that? In my view, Islam is the only religion that has political governments that are reigning their countries according to Sharia law, according to Islamic law. I think that is the reason of this word jurisdiction. Okay, we continue. This is a depiction like a leopard with 4 false wings, 4 heads. And the 4 heads, these 4 heads, they refer to 4, how do you say that, departments. You can read about it on the internet. You can look it up if you read about Islam. It has 4 so-called departments in which this religion can be divided, so to speak, in terms of spearheading. And it's also given dominion, as I already mentioned, jurisdiction. And now the 4th animal, the most Western animal, that is what Daniel saw. A 4th animal, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly mighty. It has monstrous iron teeth. It has claws of copper. It is devouring and crushing and stamping upon the remainder with her feet. She is diverse from all the animals that were east of her. And she had 10 horns. That's what Daniel saw. Of course, we're talking here about Christianity. Also the biggest or greatest, if you want, religion. I think 2.5 billion people call themselves Christians, while in Islam, which is the second one, it's 1.8 or 1.9 billion, maybe 2 billion by now. Because Islam is quite an expensive religion as well. But in terms of religion, I am especially referring to its root, and that is the Roman Catholic Church. This is a better depiction, I think, than the Tyrannosaur. This is a bit different with the 10 horns here. exceedingly dreadful, terrible beast, iron teeth, brass nails, had 10 horns, a little horn. We're going to come to the little horn just now, which plucked 10 horns east of him. That's masculine. Okay, so let's continue with the fourth animal. Between the 10 horns came up another bit of a horn. By the way, before I continue, a horn in such a depiction refers to weaponry. It refers to a weaponized power. So a power with lots of advanced weapons. The most weaponed power, if you know what I mean. The most armed one. Maybe that's the best word. So between the horns came up another bit of a horn. So it started as a small horn, a little horn. 3 of the eastern horns were uprooted before this horn. And this horn had a mouth that declared monstrous things and blasphemous things. It was making war with the saints. Oh boy. So this is the end time, right? The size of this was larger than its partakers. So it grew up not to be only a bigger horn, but also because it had eyes and a mouth, it was the most noticeable horn by far, of course. So the size of it was larger than its partakers. Okay, we continue with the fourth animal. This fourth animal was dispatched or done away with. Her frame was destroyed. Her frame was destroyed. It was granted to the glowing fire. So this animal was done away with, right? Okay, please just bear that in mind, because later on we're going to also go through another piece of the puzzle that will allow you to put things together in a better way. How about the remaining 3 animals? So Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam. Their authority was caused to pass away. Yet a lengthening of life was granted to them until the stated time and season. Do you have it? Do you see it? Do you have the picture? Okay, so it was granted to them, these 3, to have a lengthening of life for the time being until a certain time and season. Okay. So let's look at the interpretation of Daniel's dream, because we're going to go further now, and you can read about it in Daniel 7 verse 17 to 27. These monstrous animals, those 4, are 4 religious animals, obviously. I would say animals kingdoms, sorry. So 4 religious kingdoms that will arise from the earth. And a religion, especially a world religion, can also be a kingdom. Let's look at the Pope. The Pope is of course considered a king, a worldwide king even, but from another entity. King of over another entity, perceivably, than political kingdoms. Okay, as for the 10 horns from the 4th animal, from that kingdom, 10 kings, and that's masculine, will arise. This is in the future, in the end times. 10 kings will arise. another king, I don't know why I did this, but anyway, another king, and that's the 11th horn, will rise after them, starting as a little horn. So the perception of that other king, that little horn, the 11th horn, was greater than of its partakers, as already mentioned. He is different from the eastern ones, and he will bring down 3 kings. As we read earlier in the dream itself, that 3 horns were uprooted before it, right? Okay, we continue. This one will be the one with the mouth and the eyes. So that will be a person, a being, starting as a human being. Let me put it like that. Declarations against the supreme shall he, this little horn, this king, declare. To the saints of the supremacies shall he bring decay. Remember, the horn was making war with the saints. What saints are we talking about here? Not the body of Christ. It is the saints out of Israel, because God will resume his program with Israel immediately after the snatching away. And then Israel will immediately become God's people again, and all the other nations will be secondary, and they will be secondary, and they will receive their blessing only through Israel, only through Israelites or Jews. Okay. So, what will this king do further? He shall intend to alter stated times and an edict. This is a Gentile king. Remember that it was from the... this is about the beast in the Revelation, which we will also go through. And it comes from the sea, the first beast. And the sea is the Gentile nations, right? So this will be a Gentile king, Gentile leader. He will intend to alter stated times and an edict. I think it's about Islamic laws and Jewish laws. Not sure yet. They shall be granted into his hands. Who are they? The saints. They shall be granted into his hand for a season and 2 seasons and half a season, which is 3.5 years. 1 year plus 2 years plus a half year. It's seasons, but it's about years. We see that in other places. Remember, as a jigsaw puzzle. But it will be granted, they will be granted into his hand until the transferer of days arrives. And adjudication was granted to the saints of the supremacies. So these saints will of course be either they will not die and they will be kept safe someplace, or they will die and they will be resurrected to rule and reign with Christ in the millennial kingdom. So who is the transferer of days? In the book of Daniel, that refers to Yahweh. But who will represent Yahweh when this will take place on earth? That is Jesus Christ, obviously. Because he said in Matthew 28 that to him is granted by his Father all power in the heavens and on the earth. So he is then the transfer of days. It's delegated to him. Okay, so wow. What shall I do? I think I have to. I think I'm going to leave it here and continue with the next video. And I hope to then speed up a little bit, we have some slides to go through yet. Well, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.